I left St. George, and it truly had been a great place to base out of to see a lot of the areas around Zion. Now I was headed toward the north rim of the Grand Canyon. But before I get into all the details of that trip, I want to talk a little bit about the Grand Staircase, the Great Escalante. So I'm going to get right back to the actual trip, but bear with me as I give you a minute or two about why you really need to know a little bit about this to really appreciate this area of the Southwest. I learned something that I didn't actually appreciate until I got back from the trip. The fact that it's called the Grand Staircase is because there are all these different plateau heights, and the highest part of that is the Aquarius Plateau, and it's where Bryce Canyon is. Bryce Canyon's about 8,000 feet elevation. Actually, the Aquarius Plateau is a little bit above that. And then you actually have where Bryce Canyon is. But some of the peaks and things that you look up at in Bryce Canyon are on that plateau. And then there's a series of other plateaus as you descend, and there's all marked by cliffs. And so you have what are known as the pink cliffs, then you have the gray cliffs, the white cliffs, the Vermillion cliffs, the chocolate cliffs, and those give way down to the levels of where the lower Grand Canyon is. Some of the elevated areas that, like in the north rim of the Grand Canyon and things like that, are associated with, the higher portions of that plateau. And so there are these layers of rock that are associated with each of those cliffs. And when you look at the Grand Canyon, you're seeing all the different rock types from all those different layers associated with the cliffs. So I have a graphic. I didn't create this graphic. It's a public domain graphic. But it's amazing just how beautiful the topography is. So you have Zion National Park, and you'll have portions of it that are in elevation between the white cliffs and the gray cliffs, but then the canyon itself goes much, much deeper. And that's very true of the Grand Canyon, and you get all the variated colors from all the various layers. So it's a beautiful area, and I didn't have the time to base in Kanab. And Kanab is a great jumping off point to explore all the different areas like the Vermillion cliffs, the wave, which really shows all the colored layers of rock. And that's a fantastic photography destination. I wanted to go there. My problem was I also needed to get to the north rim of the Grand Canyon because once again, a major snowstorm was coming. So in a nutshell, the Grand Staircase is absolutely amazing. And if you have the time, I would base out of Kanab and just explore all the different areas of the Grand Escalante. It's the most numerous areas of slot canyons and variegated layers of rock in the United States. Just absolutely beautiful. I just didn't have time for it on this trip. It was one of those things where I wanted to come back and spend 4 or 5 days out of Kanab, but I'd never been to the north rim of the Grand Canyon. I was a Scenic Airlines pilot. I flew the southern rim of the Grand Canyon. We had family property in Ash Fork, Arizona, which is very close to the south rim. I've been there a number of times. But the north rim was that hidden area, the forgotten country, the forgotten nation that I'd never had a chance to explore. So I really wanted to take 3 or 4 days at the north rim. So Kanab, you got left out on this trip. I did on the route that I took through Fredonia get to see a lot of the mountains of the Grand Escalante off in the distance. And it was pretty, but it's not like actually going and hiking everything. So Kanab, I'm coming back.